Hope Media, the media that impacts lives. I'm your host, Darlene Ede, and today I have a special guest all the way from Portsmouth, Virginia, Kathy Dozier. Kathy Dozier is the founder of Break the Cycle, whose passionate mission is to advocate on behalf of and to enlighten, empower, and educate the vulnerable population, who's anyone at risk of losing their property or losing housing. Let's welcome Kathy Dozier to our set today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so what does break the cycle means to you?
Break the cycle means to me eradicating hopelessness in the community once a person begins to experience any type of transition in their life, especially financial loss or due to health.
Why did you create Break the Cycle?
I created Break the Cycle because I was listening to a couple arguing. And even though this couple is over 30, maybe 30 years younger than me, it sounded just like the arguments I used to have. And it was about finances. It was about being evicted, not having enough money to survive or keep their housing. And they had 5 children.
What community do you serve?
I serve the entire community, but the vulnerable population is basically made up of community that are low income or no income at all.
Experience. What are some ways that people fall into homelessness?
Most of the time, people fall into homelessness because they either lose their employment, they have some type of life event change, such as an illness, a car accident, brain injury, and also people who have developmental delays. There are always things that will cause them to not be able to keep their housing. And most of the time, it comes from lack of income.
So, based on your experience, could you give us a story of a case or can you give us a story, like a story of a case of a person that you helped who was going through homelessness?
Okay. Well, I have 2 cases that I can tell you the most recent. She had just received a housing voucher, Section 8 housing voucher from HUD. And everybody she called to rent an apartment, they would turn her down. So she was beginning to feel hopeless. She felt rejected. And she was also on a limited income. So what I did was I had a conversation with her to encourage her, number one. Number two, I provided her a list of landlords that accept Section 8 vouchers. And then I gave her a list of agencies to help her with her deposits and her first month's rent. She called me on Mother's Day to tell me Happy Mother's Day and thank you because she had just signed her lease. The second scenario that I just had a couple of nights ago, a single mother with 2 children has been struggling to maintain her housing. She was on the Section 8 wait list and have been for the last 3 years. She was born in New York and she requested her birth certificate about 3 months ago. But the state of New York is very slow in their turnaround. So when she came up for listing to get her voucher, she was turned away because she did not have her birth certificate. The receipt of payment was not enough. And so now I'm working with her because there's an appeal process in 30 days. And I'm also going to contact the local councilman to see if we can't step in and help her because I don't want to see her go through this stress trying to keep her home.
Amazing. You talked about in your mission that is to advocate on behalf of and to empower, enlighten, and to educate. And how do you do that? What are some of the things that you do?
Well, one of the things I do with the first young lady that called me with the Section 8 voucher, I educated her to let her know that even though you may be told that you have to live in a certain area or a certain city, that is not true. Before you allow your voucher to expire, you can always port it to another city. And so I had to educate her on that process. Additional case management services to discourage you. You know where you want to live and you know where you feel safe. And so I want you to remain focused, but do not accept no for an answer. So I was able to educate her, I was able to enlighten her, and then I was able to empower her to tell her, do not settle.
What is the end game like? What would you like BTC or break the chain, break the cycles? What do you see break the cycle role in ending homelessness? Like, what do you see, you guys?
Okay. I see break the cycle going into the trenches, where traditional agencies, they are held under an umbrella of guidelines. But break the cycle is there to step in when this person is just about to be evicted. One of the things that I've noticed about the vulnerable population is that most people that are working with them have never been homeless. So they have no idea what's going on through that person's mind. And so break the cycle will be there to be their communicator, to be their advocate, to be the voice for them because they don't have a voice. No one wants to listen to them. People and the community only want to blame them for their circumstances.
And so you guys are going to be the advocates to stand in and be the voice for them. And
Yeah.
how can people support what you're doing, and what do you need um, in your fight, in this
Okay.
fight?
Well, one of the things that I need someone to come along and assist me. For example, if you have a single mother who is working full time, but she's still not making enough money to make her ends meet, I want to be able to train her how she can make passive income to supplement her income. I want to train her about her credit report, how she needs to guard it and keep it in good standing. I want to educate her on the eviction process and not allow a landlord to bully her or make her think that she has to walk away from her home and sometimes, in some cases, mortgages. People give up too soon. Break the cycle needs to be financially stable so that if we come in a circumstance and there's a family that may be going through a health crisis, we want to be able to undergird them financially while they're going through chemo or radiation, or if they have lupus or leukemia, we want to be there and walk with them as a support until they get through their crisis.
To help support
Mhm.
what you guys are doing.
Okay. One of the main things is that I'm going to start recruiting board members, people that are passionate about this vision, people that have tasted or come close to losing their own housing. I am looking for people to help us financially, maybe a budget analyst that is willing to volunteer their time and help this family create a new budget. I'm looking for a tax preparer, someone that maybe owe the IRS and back taxes, and I need someone to come along to help negotiate and help that person get through that. One of the things that is getting ready to happen now, and I need people, landlords, property owners, to come along and become a part of Break the Cycle, is that the rental housing market, it is tripling in cost, but the salaries that they have is not increasing. They're still making $15 an hour, but the minimum rent is $1,200 for a family. There is no way in the world that they will be able to survive and sustain housing, let alone if you make $15 an hour and you have a family, say, of two people, three total, you don't qualify for the traditional SNAP benefits we call food stamps. So, who's going to supplement their food? How will they get the information to find out where the food banks are located in their community? And they're working Monday through Friday, can't get to the food bank. So, how do we supplement? How do we help them with the gas? I'm looking for volunteers. We need the community's support in helping the families, especially during this particular time in our society. For example, food prices are increasing, and a lot of people who are working, which I don't like this term, they call the working class poor, they don't receive SNAP benefits, but yet their food bill is steadily increasing. Their gas prices are now increasing. I want to be able to supplement a family by giving them a gas card on a monthly basis, so to make sure they have gas to get back and forth to work. I want to be able to supplement a family with a food voucher so that they can go to the grocery store in their neighborhood to supplement their food and grocery bill. It is time for the community to be creative in helping people to remain housed. And then the last population that are most vulnerable to becoming homeless are those receiving Social Security benefits. There is not enough permanent supportive housing available. They only bring in $830 a month. And so there's not enough housing, affordable housing, because usually at $830 a month, you really shouldn't be paying no more than $120 in your rent. But we have run out of those houses. And also, most people think that if they receive Social Security benefits, they can't buy a home or get a mortgage. And that's not true. I want to educate them so that they know that's available for them as well.
And Kathy, I want you to talk about your relationships that you have with the other nonprofits that you work with. So I'm going to ask you a question about that. It's not on the questions, but
Okay.
you because we talked about it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 5 organizations that I work with are all nonprofit organizations working with the vulnerable population of homelessness. Um, One particular agency only works with singles. One particular agency only works with domestic violence. The third agency only works with young mothers that have 2 children. And the fifth agency goes around in the community and prepare hot meals for the homeless 3 days a week. So they meet them in the central location consistently 3 days a week to make sure they get a hot meal. Most of the time, when I receive clients, they will call me on my cell phone, and they have gotten my number from one of the agencies or someone else who is homeless that has my number. So they'll give it out in the community. When they call me, the first thing I do is I just have a general conversation with them. No judgment, no questions asked, no blame, no condemnation. Because with homelessness, there's always a connection to some type of trauma, substance abuse, or some type of history that we have to find out about. So I don't dive right into that. I let them do the talking so that I'll know how I can help them. Most of the time, when people come to me, they have lost hope. And when I say lost hope, they've lost hope in the traditional services available. So they're coming to me because someone has shared with them that if she can help you, if nobody else can help you, Miss Kathy can help you. So when they come to me, I already know that I've got to restore the hope back in them first. Okay, so I don't judge. And then the second thing is everybody has a story. And when they share with me the story, I do not judge. I told them, I said, whatever happened from this point, we're moving forward. Okay. If it gets to be too overwhelming for you, or if you can't handle it, then we'll walk through it together. If I have to come and walk with you and see properties with you, I always tell them that I'm partnering with you. Okay. And if it's at a point that I have to, that is overwhelming or too much at the time, I'll back off until you're ready to proceed. But most of it is encouragement. Once they see that they can trust me, once they see that I'm not going to abandon them, then most of the time they hang on until they are either rehoused or they can maintain their housing. I would like to tell our viewers this. Homelessness is not the face that you see on TV and on the billboards. Homelessness is the family that's trying to scramble and work every day to maintain their housing. And they are always at risk every 30 days. So it's not something that goes away. They have to constantly stay on top of this, and the resources that they need in the community, we have to get the resources to them so that they can stay housed. Calling me at 2018 breakthecycle@gmail.com. They can also look at our website at www.btci-va.org. And then they can also call me at 757-738-9701. And I'm available.